Welcome to Encore, the show for and about Encore entrepreneurs by the Encore Entrepreneur Institute. We are here to talk about the small business and the entrepreneurships that goes along with those businesses. So let's get started. Welcome our special guest today, Halonia Black from Digital Well Publishers. How are you doing today?
I'm wonderful, Janice. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, I'm excited to have you. Self-publishing is what we're going to be talking about for entrepreneurs today. And it's going to be an exciting topic because if you really want to be a leader, one of those innovational, inspirational thought leaders, then you need to hear this talk today. So let's get started. Tell me a little bit about who you are and what it is you do, Halonia.
Sure. Well, what I do is I am a writer and editor as well as a book coach. And what I do as a book coach is I, for the most part, support entrepreneurs who are interested in learning how to write their own business book. And I go beyond just writing the book itself. I also help them with the actual creating a marketing plan so that what a lot of people wind up with is if they self-publish the book, they wind up with 200 copies actually just sitting in their living room because they don't know how to sell it. So I take them from idea, how to pick out an idea that's going to work for them, all the way through the actual publishing and then the actual marketing of the book as well.
Okay. Now your audio cut out a little bit in and out. It was good, and then I don't know what happened. So like right now it's a little tinty, so I'm not sure what happened. If you have to get rid of your earbuds, do what you got to do, but see what happens.
I'll try without the earbuds.
Okay, we'll keep going. Just make sure volume's not too high. Yes, I can hear you. It's a little, maybe it wasn't plugged in all the way. Maybe that was it. Because now you sound like tinty that we were getting. And it was clear when you were right up
without the earbuds, I can't hear you.
Well, that's good. No, that's good. That's better. So maybe it wasn't plugged in tight. So hopefully that's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like when you lean forward, it gets better. I don't know what that is. Okay. That's much better. All right. Okay. So why does someone need a book coach? Why can't you just do this yourself and upload it to Amazon or what is it? Create space on Amazon or something like that? How would an entrepreneur benefit from working with you as a book coach?
Yeah, well, an entrepreneur would benefit from working with a book coach because a lot of times people are so wrapped up into the day-to-day activities of their own business that when it comes to a book, trying to take out the space in their life that they need to be able to actually write it, think about it, doing all the marketing and all these other things that they usually have to learn on their own. It just takes up too much time. And so for a lot of entrepreneurs, it's easier to just go out and hire someone to support them with the actual creation of the book. The same way you would do with perhaps an outside marketing professional, a VA, or a social media partner, anything like that. That would really be one of the biggest benefits of really hiring a book coach and working with someone on completing your book.
Okay. Now, I'm still losing your audio a little bit. I'm not sure if there's anything we can do about it at this point, but we'll see. We'll just keep going. Maybe you can hold the microphone up like that or something like that. I'm not sure if it's trying to pick up through your computer instead of your headset, but something's going on there. We'll keep going, see what happens. Now, does that mean that you have contacts of different places that might help a new author to sell their books? Is that that's one of the benefits of having a book coach?
Well, one of the benefits is helping people to figure out who their actual audience is.
Okay.
Who are the people that they're actually trying to reach, and then trying to come up with a plan to be able to help them to reach them. Even when you work with a traditional book publisher, they may help you through the actual launch of the book, and then after that, you're just kind of on your own with marketing and selling your book. And so what I do as a book coach is really sit down and work with people on the actual plan. I work with them on the whole quality, the book quality, and working as a developmental editor and developing your ideas, walking you through the entire process of doing the actual publishing and learning what print on demand means and all of those other things. And yeah, just really I really work as sort of a one-stop shop. So you're not going to different places on trying to figure out where to print your book. You know, who's going to edit my book? Who's going to give me a book cover? All of that stuff.
Okay. And it seems like when your audio gets better is when you slow down or pause. So just go really slowly, and maybe we can work through the audio issue. Now, I've heard of this thing called a signature book. What is that?
A signature book. That's a lot of people have an idea that they want to be able to write what's called a signature book. And when you write your signature book, it's really the book that you write that represents who you are as a business person, and it represents whatever it is that you're trying to express at the moment in your particular business. And so it's like, I sometimes will call it the book of your life. You know, this is the book that you've always wanted to write. You're in a really great space in your business, and you're really working hard on trying to get your message out there. And you really want to be able to put some of these new ideas and thoughts about what it is that you're trying to complete into one large book. That's a signature book. Okay.
Now, what are some of the biggest mistakes that people make when writing their first book, like their signature book? Sometimes it's the first, but what's some of the biggest mistakes that they make?
Well, one big mistake they make is that they have a lot of different ideas, and they try to tackle it all in one book, instead of trying to vet what would make the most sense for me to be able to write about right now. You know, where is it that I'm trying to go in with my business in the next year, 2 years, maybe even 5 years? And taking a look at your business from that standpoint, and then using that idea to be able to create a book that's going to help you to get to those goals. And then there's too many ideas. And so they want to put everything into one large book. And then they wind up writing nothing because, you know, it's just too much. It's too much to be able to write at one time. And so working with a book coach will really help you to be able to sort of gather all that information down into one saleable idea that's going to be able to help you to sell your business.
No, I think that's perfect. I'm writing 2 books because of that reason. I had to split it. It's just too much information. I can write forever. I used to struggle with writing a 10-page research paper in college, but I can definitely write now forever and ever and ever and go on and on. So we have a live audience, and I'm going to leave a seat open so we can have a surprise guest, whichever one of you feel confident and want to come in and ask a question live, go for it. Okay, we have one person, so I'm going to let you in. Let me tell you, they changed their process here, so I have to do it like this. Please feel free to ask a question. Hello, Nathan. How are you?
I'm doing just fine, thank you.
Hi, Nathan. How are you?
I'm good. I actually don't have a question, really. I'm a writer myself. I've been writing for 18 years now.
Yeah.
So I mean, in terms of the self-publishing, I mean, I don't know what to say about it. There's so many aspects of it.
She's a book coach, so what she does is help people navigate all the different aspects of it and to make sure your book is successful. So you have kind of an advocate.
Well, the one thing that you were talking about was the people who try to fit too much into a book. And this is what I was telling somebody who she isn't writing a book, but she has a site about her chiropractic business, and she's trying to be everything to everybody. And I said to her, that's a major mistake. I said, just find an entry point, something you're good at. Get started with that. And then when people show up into your office, then and they learn what else you can do, then you've got something. And with the book thing, I mean, one of the things that many of us do as information publishers, because that's been a big part of what I do, is writing a free report or creating a video on just one particular topic, which I think addresses what you're talking about.
Yeah, and that's really great for people who may not be ready for the signature book yet. Maybe that's just too big of a project for you to tackle. Maybe you're in the beginning stages of your business, or maybe you're just not interested in doing a whole big signature book as of yet. I do coach people on writing a series of shorter ebooks that are more like a how-to series, or just an informational series that introduce people to what it is that you do in your business and how it is that you can help them. And those usually wind up maybe the first one will be like a freebie that you give on your email list.
Great.
The next one you may use as an actual book that you might sell on Amazon or some other spaces, and also be able to offer it as available for print if it's long enough. If you feel like you want to be able to do that. I actually have a client who actually did that very same model. He took his second book and he offered it in both ebook and print, and he went on a book tour with it. So
that's great.
Yeah.
That is great.
For what it's worth, the one thing that many people may not have considered is that the most successful book that I ever wrote was not available on Amazon or in any of the sites. It was sold entirely on the back channel. And what I mean by that is several years ago, I wrote a book about Photoshop, and then I started looking for people to joint venture with me on it. And I found a publisher, the Corel Corporation in Canada. I rewrote it to match their product, which was PhotoPaint, and they sold it as a value add with their software. And over a period of time, they sold over 11,000 copies of the book.
Wow.
And so in a sense, depending on who you talk to, it would have turned me into a best-selling author, but I'm a best-selling author that nobody knows because it was done on the back channel. It was done specifically to their audience. It wasn't done through the normal channels like Amazon or any of those things. So
I think that's a really creative way to actually get your books out there. Nathan, I want to thank you for your information. I want to kind of talk to her a little bit about selling in bulk and things like that too. So I just wanted, before I close you out, do you have anything else that you want to ask or do you want to say before, because I do need to keep going here.
No problem.
Okay.
No,
Well, thank you
nothing else. I popped in because I was listening to what you were talking about. I thought I could contribute a bit.
You absolutely did. Thank you so much. Stay tuned and stay with us. So you may have to, you may have some answers to some other people's questions too. So please stay with us. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Nathan.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So he mentioned something that was really good because that's one of the things that I'm really interested in is selling my book in bulk. Then talk to me a little bit about some ways that maybe authors can do that.
Yeah, I actually have, I do a podcast with my business as well, and I was able to interview a couple who actually writes children's books. And they were very interested. They weren't even interested in Amazon at all. They don't want to be bothered, don't care about it, don't even call them about Amazon at all. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs or just book writers in general put too much hope and faith into thinking that Amazon is going to sell their books for them, which I think is a wrong way to look at it. I don't think there's anything wrong personally with selling on Amazon. It's a great place to distribute your books, but it's not the only place. And so selling your books in bulk is really a wonderful way for you to be able to sell your books, possibly thousands of books at one time, depending on where you go to. So a way for you to be able to sell your books in bulk is to, before you even write the book, is to really think about who it is that you're trying to target and what types of people and companies in particular that might be interested in the book that you want to be able to write. And then you want to be able to contact them to find, who are the people who are running conferences, who's involved in, I have a lot of people who are wellness professionals. And so who are the contacts in, the health and wellness department within corporations. If you're into HR, are there HR associations and other organizations where they have large meetings of people who are meeting every year, and they have education budgets, and they're looking for people who can offer something to be able to offer their attendees as part of, like a swag bag or something that they can offer at maybe a discounted price or anything like that. So you really can be very creative as far as your book sales are concerned. Don't think that just because, Amazon is the largest online seller of books right now, that, bookstores and Amazon are the only place that you can sell your book. There's really just so many options for you, particularly if you're a business owner.
Right. I have one book on Amazon, and I tell you, it's about the modeling industry. And if you search for just modeling books, mine doesn't even come up there. It doesn't come up there. It has 5 stars. Everyone who bought it likes the book, but it doesn't even show up. So I've done everything they told me to do to make sure it's in the right category. I did all that. I'm like, and I wrote to them. They don't give you any help at all. So I can see why they don't want to be bothered with Amazon. There's no help for authors that are out there hanging like, hey, help me. I don't know what to do. So this
is the secret to Amazon. If you have more, you have to have more than one book. A lot of my mentors who've actually taught me this, how to sell your books online, the ones who do the best are the ones who've written a lot of books. And by a lot, I'm talking 20, sometimes even 50 books that they're selling on Amazon. And, once you get to a critical mass and hopefully you have, books in sets where you're writing about very specific topics that people are looking for, then they can start actually selling your book. That's when they start, that suggested reading area where if you pick up a book on the modeling industry and they'll say, suggested books on the bottom. If you've got 20 books on the same subject, it's going to pop up right under all the other books that are talking about similar topics. So that really, you've got to write a lot of books. So if you only plan on writing one, don't think you're just going to put it up on Amazon and, hope that that's just going to make it, because it really isn't.
I learned the hard way. So you preaching to the choir, but it's good. I love these secrets. Oh my God, this is good information. Because who would have known? I didn't know. I have one book on one subject. I did it. I don't plan on writing anymore on that subject. So it's just sitting there. I've told people to go there. If they don't tell them, they don't know. So interesting. So someone asked, what's the name of your podcast? Can you please type that in for everybody, what the name or how they can get to your podcast? Because people are going to join in. She has a truckload of information. So that would be great. What is the name of your podcast?
It's called Digital Well Publisher Podcast. And you can find it on iTunes and Stitcher.
Okay. Very, very good.
Also, if you go into, I'll put a link to my website as well.
Okay, that's great.
You can find access to episodes within the blog section there as well. And I post them there as well.
Oh, very good. So your website is digitalwellpublisher.com for the people who are watching the replay. And I'll make sure that I post it under the YouTube description as well, because I always save these to YouTube as well. So let me ask this question for those who have no idea. What is involved in the whole self-publishing process? Because it is a process.
It starts with your whole idea of that you want to actually.
I think you just
can you hear me?
For a second. Yeah, start again. Start the answer again so everyone can hear everything.
Okay. All right. So the whole publishing process, it actually starts with your original idea. What is it that you want to write about? Think about, is this the actual topic that you are an expert in? That's very important, because sometimes I get people, they want to write about other stuff other than what they're an expert in. So that's very important. And you want to also think about, what is your end goal with writing this book? Do you want to get more speaking engagements? Are you interested in writing more books? Do you want to release a coaching program? Are you doing some sort of retreats? Anything, whatever it is that you want to be able to create. It's a good idea to get all that information down. And then once you have that, and then we go into writing an actual book outline.
Okay.
A book outline is super important, because writing a book outline will help you to stay on topic. A lot of people, they just start, from an introduction, chapter 1, and they just keep writing until they can't write anymore. And then they get confused and they don't know, where to go. It's too much information. It's too little information. So writing an outline is super important. And then you just want to fill in those chapters. Start filling in those chapters as you go. Me personally, I do work with people on reading drafts. I'm what's called a developmental editor. And so as a developmental editor, I do work with people on figuring out whether or not you're going in the right direction with your book, with your ideas. Okay, so once you have a pretty good draft, now you want to start thinking about perhaps getting someone to edit the book for you from start to finish as far as a copy editor is concerned. Mm-hmm. And what a copy editor does is they go through line by line and they're going to, fix, grammar. They're going to help you with figuring out, are these ideas in certain chapters, are they in the right spot? That sort of information. Once you get that copy edit done, then you might want to start thinking about your cover design and getting a cover done by a professional graphic artist. And then you want to get your book laid out for you. Ebooks are quite simple to get a layout for your book. I usually just hand that job off to someone else to be able to do that for me. Mm-hmm. But print books are a little bit more complicated. And there are certain things that you can use to be able to make that a little bit simple for you. I'm going to put a link in here as soon as I get a chance. I'll put a link where I have this whole process laid out for you, and I actually have some tools online that people can either purchase if they want to be able to lay out their books themselves, or either find other resources for people to be able to do it for them.
Well, that's good. That's good to know because it has to be laid out a certain way. And I can't tell you how many ebooks I've read that had mistakes all in it, and it just looks so unprofessional. So that's a really important piece of it. But please continue.
Yeah. And people don't want to pay for that editor. I don't know why they don't. I don't know. They don't want to pay for it. They think that, it's too expensive. I don't know what it is. But it's important to know that you need to have an editor, someone else besides yourself, to be able to come in and look at the book because you're too close to the subject. Mm-hmm. You really need that outside look from someone else who can, be a third party to what it is that you've been writing. Okay, so once you've got the copy edit and it's been laid out professionally, you also want to have a proofreader. A proofreader is the person who's the final person that looks at it after it's been laid out, and that's just to catch any final mistakes, as far as spelling mistakes and all that other stuff. You just want to make sure that the book just looks as professional as possible. And then once the book has been proofread, now it's ready to either upload to, you can make it a PDF if you're selling it online through your own store online. You can also upload it to an Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or other places like that. If you are doing a print book, now you want to be able to utilize what's called a print on demand service, or POD service. And you can use a Create Space. Mm-hmm. Create Space is associated with Amazon. They make it very easy for you to upload your final draft of your book and turn that into a print book. So that what happens is they'll put up a visual copy that on Amazon, of course, and people order one copy and they get one copy, as opposed to you having to order 100, 200 copies from a book printer, and you just having that sitting in your living room, in the hopes that people will purchase it.
Right. No, I agree 100% there. And the thing I want to say is that people don't realize is that your book doesn't have to be 50,000 words if you're going to be self-publishing it. I know a person that has a book that's 40 pages. So I want to have a book that's 15 pages. It's an ebook. So you can literally be an author tomorrow with Create Space. Mm-hmm. And I've known people who done that, had their friends buy the book, bestseller came up, and they became a best-selling author on Amazon. And then they started becoming speakers and started touring with their on-demand book that they print out several copies and take with them. So you literally can start a whole new career within 30 days, I would say. So it's interesting
you
to
can.
know. Yeah.
But the thing is, I want to push back a little bit on that. You can become a publisher tomorrow because you want to make sure that it looks good and that it's quality. And there's so many people who are just like, no, you can become a best-selling author in 3 days, but they've skipped all that middle part that comes with writing a quality book.
No, I had to say, I was exaggerating a little bit. Just
I know. But some people, they take that literally. They write 2 to 3 pages of nonsense, and then they ask people to pay $2.99 for it,
right,
on Amazon, and then you get it, and you're like, okay, well, what is this? This is it's not useful for me.
And there is a lot of nonsense out there.
Yeah,
absolutely, there is. All right, so with all that said, and we go through this whole process, the thing that you want to happen is you want to have a successful book, right? Because it may happen that you do this book, it's so good, it sells well, you sell all these copies, and now you have the attention of maybe a bigger publisher for either this book to expand it or your next book. So how can an entrepreneur ensure a successful self-published book? Do you have any tips for that?
Sure. A successful book really falls down to creating your own author platform. And what an author platform is, it's sort of that foundation that you have of people that you're bringing with you, people who love your work, who are excited about what you have to say, what you're writing about, the products you create, the services that you offer, and you create some sort of movement around what it is that you want to do. So an author platform is really it's super important. Even if you're going to a traditional publisher, let's say you do this one self-published book and you have the hopes of going through a traditional publisher at some point later on. Traditional publishers still like to see that you have some sort of a backing behind you, that you have an email list of a certain number of people, that when you send a tweet or you post on Facebook, that people are actually responding to you, and that this isn't just some list of people that you paid for, and every time you send them something, there's no response. They don't care. They don't know who you are. You have no relationship with them. Right. Because traditional publishers are really looking for people who can help them pay for their investment, so to speak. They don't, like anything else in the business world, you're not going to invest in something if you're not sure if you're going to get any sort of a return on it. So it's really great to be able to, while you're even writing your book, to sort of build that author platform where you'll have those people on your email list, your social media presence, to do things like creating a blab show or Periscope or a podcast or what have you, and to be able to have all that information together so that you'll build a movement with what it is that you're trying to create.
I agree with that 100%. I've heard it over and over and over from literary agents. I've so far published 3 books, one with Simon & Schuster, 2 self-published. It's nice to have a big publisher because they give you a nice advance if you have all of those things you just described. And I published mine before social media was really big, but I did have a large following and audience through print at the time because I did a magazine. So yeah. Right. But so it's good to build that even as a self-publisher. I agree. And that's the things, those are things I've been working on too. And it's, like I said, so important that they're engaged users, engaged audience. And with saying that, we will allow someone to jump in the seat to ask her a question because she is the expert and she has lots of valuable knowledge. Oh, great. We have someone. Here we go. Hold on a second. And there we go. Laura, she's joining us. Let me make sure I follow you. Let's see what Laura wants to ask you.
I know Laura.
Do you know Laura? Vibrating.
We've never met face to face, but we've talked on the phone before.
Well, I got to say, Blab, we've been having some problems with cameras coming in lately. I don't know if they changed something. So you might have a minute. So I'm going to ask a question while we wait for Laura to pop in there. Is there any reason why an entrepreneur should not write a book? Can you think of anything?
If you're still in the very beginning stages of your of your business and you're not sure who you're talking to, then maybe a book is not for you. Perhaps you should do something where you're focusing more on blogging. Something that's going to be sort of low, low involvement. Something that you can change around quickly if needed. As you work with more clients and you're discovering where your sweet spot is in your business, to just find some other sort of activity where if you feel like you wanted to change it up, you wouldn't have invested hundreds, sometimes even thousands of dollars into creating a book that's not going to serve you for at least a few years in your business. If you're in the very beginning stages, or you're at a critical point where you're not really sure on the direction of your business, then there are other things that you can write, like a blog, or even like a short how-to book, as I was talking about with I think his name was Nathan. That would be a really great place for you to be able to begin. But a signature book, I would not do that if you're not sure of who you're talking to.
Okay. So how long is this process? You said that, I was joking when I said the next day, within 30 days. How long can we really do a self-published book? What do you think? How long does it take?
I have a particular program where I work with people from idea all the way through publishing and marketing. And I help them in a matter of 90 days to be able to complete their book. And so I work very hard on helping people with accountability, having weekly writing assignments so that we can actually get you from your idea all the way to finished book. Because, there's so many things that can go wrong when you're writing a book, so many things that happen in life, so many things that, get us distracted. And if you don't have that person who can sort of pull you back into your book and make sure that you're staying on top of all your writing schedules, it's very easy to drag this whole thing out for a year plus. So I really try to stick to that 90-day schedule.
But you know what? 90 days is not bad. I'm working, of course, with literary agents now. And if I go through a traditional publisher, it's going to take me 2 years before I even see my book. So 2 years, 90 days. And, it's not much different if I'm going with a small publisher as far as money that I'm making. I get a little bit upfront, but it does help with some things, but basically I'm doing my own marketing because I understand that it doesn't pay these days to necessarily hire a PR agency because they're not as dedicated as you are about your book. So this money that I have can help me maybe purchase some of my books so that I can take them on the road, things like that. But for self-publishing, you have more freedom, right? So what do you see as the difference between or the benefits of self-publishing versus traditional publishing, I should say?
Well, yeah, I think that the timetable of actually getting your book done, I think is one really great benefit. Another benefit of going the self-publishing route is that for a lot of the people that I work with, for a lot of the topics that they're writing on, there really aren't a lot of traditional publishers who would take the chance on it because perhaps their niche is too small, or they don't feel like they would get they wouldn't get their money back from investing in that type of project. Which doesn't mean that it's not worthwhile or that people won't buy it. It's just that the way that traditional publishing is set up, they're just not set up to be able to make that sort of investment in you. But that certainly doesn't mean that what you have to say and what you have to offer is not worthy of a book. It's just that you have to take these self-publishing tools yourself and use them to be able to get your message out there.
Laura, I'll give you another chance if you want to try to jump in there. I see you're back in the room. There we go, because we're about to end the show shortly. Let's see if we can get you in.
I also wanted to add a little bit about royalties as well. That's another.
We want to know
about royalties. I know some people who traditionally published, and they have hopes of being able to leave their day job. Sometimes they work in academia, or they are working in some sort of a corporation, but their royalties are really not that big that they can leave their day jobs. Whereas for people who are self-publishing, if you play it right, you can make a really nice living off of the books that you sell. So that's really important. You'll get more money off of the top when you self-publish than if you're doing it with a traditional publisher. And also, I should say, as a book coach, I don't see any of your royalties. I don't even, all of your royalties are yours. People will pay me. They pay me a fee up front. We work together for the time that we are working together in the program. But what you make as far as your book sales.
Can you give us an idea of a range of what a book coach might run?
Sure. I mean, at least for myself, I have a 90-day program, and including all of the personal support, and it's a total one-stop shop where we're doing the cover design, the editing, the marketing plan, and all of that stuff. That could run from $3,500 to $5,000. And then there are other people who just need some consulting every now and again. And so I actually do, 1 hour book coaching. I have, you can work with me for $200 for an hour. I actually have a code that people can use if they wanted to speak with me. You can actually get 50% off of that price if they put in the code Encore.
Yes,
and I'll go ahead and put that in. If they put in the code Encore, you can get on the phone with me for an hour for half off the regular price. Yeah, so if they just go to digitalwellpublisher.com and just click on book a consultation and just put in the code Encore, ENCORE, and you'll be able to get that.
I'm sorry, Laura, this isn't working out. You try it again if you want, but we're going to be going off air shortly because we are only a half-hour show and we're going over actually right now. So, Helona, is there anything else you want to add? Any tips that you want to give to the audience? Secrets. We like secrets, like I said earlier. So anything that you can tell us to help us with our self-publishing before you go?
I wanted to just say that if you've been thinking about writing a book, that if you have a nudging in your heart to write some sort of a book, I think that you should go with it. Particularly if you know that there are not a lot of books out there on the market that speak to what it is that you do. This is really a wonderful opportunity. Just because you don't see anything else out there on the market that's similar to what it is that you do, it doesn't mean that people don't want it. It just means that you could probably be the very first person to actually offer this information. And there are loads of people out there who are, hoping and praying that you would have the strength to be able to put this book out. So, go with your gut, whether you work with a book coach or not. I just want to encourage people to take advantage of what self-publishing has to offer.
I agree.
Okay, well, we have a caller here. This is Robert. Hi, Robert. Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
You have a question or?
No. I was going to say, granted, I'm a screenwriter, so it's kind of interesting to hear other parts of writing and whatnot, to self-publishing and whatnot. I used to work in publishing at some point a couple of years ago, but I do think that in literary speak, it's not so bad self-publishing. It's vilified. It is vilified right now, but it's not such a bad thing.
What do you mean it's vilified? I've never heard that term before, self-publishing, because I actually like it. I've done it both ways. I like the advance from the traditional publishing, but I actually really love the control of the self-publishing too.
Well, do you know how the typical publishing worlds go? Do you know how? Do you know how they like sort of the world in this world and this world and this world goes?
No.
Okay.
What do you mean? I use Create Space. That's all I know.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Well, typically it is, if you are a writer and you publish something, then they will get it on soft copy, which would be maybe like ebook and stuff like that. But then if it holds ground and whatnot, you'll get it on hardcover, which is weird because in the past used to be opposite of that. In the opposite, in the past, it would be hardcover, and then you would have the soft cover. But
I thought you had an option for that, but
no.
Is that what you found too?
As far as you soft to hardcover. The hardcover I believe is a newer thing. The hardcover hadn't been available for a while. But if you go through Ingram Spark, I believe that they have hardcover available now if you'd like to be able to pay for that.
But the thing is, in publishing, I mean, if you were good enough, then now you would get softcover and then you'd go to hardcover, as opposed to like the 1900s, the 20th century and stuff like that. If you were not that great, then you would get hardcover and then it would be pulled to softcover, which is kind of weird. I don't get that. But yeah, it's kind of like, I granted, as a screenwriter, I can't say too much about this, but I do know what I like, and I do know what certain things, what things have gone to hardcover at this point, which is like The Martian, obviously, The Martian and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining in. We do have to end the show because we're over time. So thank you, Robert, for your contribution. And if you could tweet it out and just let people know if you enjoyed this blab that you're here for the replay, I'd appreciate it. All right. Well, you take care.
You as well.
Bye-bye. All right, Helena, thank you. Do you have any last words before we go?
Just thank you so much for having me. This has been a lot of fun. And if people are interested in contacting me, they can actually email me at hello@digitalwellpublisher.com. I'm going to put that in the notes there. If they have any questions, if they'd like to speak with me further,
I just ask everyone who's joined us today, if you enjoyed this blab, you think someone can benefit from it, please tweet it out so that we can have the live gift right now before I end the show. I really would appreciate that. We need as many followers as we can. I want you to join me every Monday, same place. We'll be back with lots of valuable business information. March is Women's History Month, and it's also International Women's Day on March 8th. So all of March shows are dedicated to the female entrepreneur. Power to you. Females, we're doing it. So even the men are invited. You can come join us too, but we're going to be talking about women in business. And please don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Encore Institute and on Blab at Encore Book. We really appreciate your support. All right. Thank you guys. Take care and have a good night.